What is going on, friends? Sean Dunn coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Dylan Brintwood. He is a off-season collegiate thrower looking for some throws programming. So yeah, he went on over to gripandrip.co and signed up for throws programming, which involves a throws program, technical coaching, limited technical feedback, everything you ever could need outside of a lifting program for your off-season. So if you're interested in throws programming of your own, head on over to gripandrip.co and sign up. You get a free in-depth technical analysis to get you started. So this is that for him. So let's get into it. All right, let's take a look. So two-turn throw for Dylan. Goal is to get to 3 turns this off-season. And there's definitely the potential for 3 turns, definitely potential for a good amount of meters, you know, to be gained this off-season. Could work on length in the arms and posture. Yeah, so we'll break it down, all right? So to start off, I like how you're kind of intentional in setting like kind of your posture. You can see start of the video. But to start right away, you can see I like how your legs are bent, but your hips are back away from the hammer. You can already see they're anteriorly pelvically tilted. That's not how you say it. Your hips are anteriorly tilted, which means your hips are kind of dumped forwards. Imagine a bowl of water. If you dump that bowl of water forwards, it's going to spill out the front, okay? And that's not what you want. You want neutral hips at the very least, or more posterior pelvic tilt. So your hips kind of tucked under you a little bit more. As you can see, there's a little bit of arch in the lower back. It's going to make it hard for you to actually work your hips up into the ball. But just at the start. So that's just food for thought. Tuck your hips underneath. You don't need to be so deep in the legs here, though being this deep in the legs is kind of more ideal, I guess, in terms of the throw itself. In terms of the start, I think you could also be, instead of starting with the ball right here, start with the ball off to either your right side or to your left side. Pick one, get a little bit more dynamic start to it. So bring the ball forwards. If it's on your left side, bring it back with your right hand, and then get a little bit more momentum into it. Whereas right now, there is no momentum. You just kind of start here. It's almost a static start. You bring it back there, and so you can already see you're using a lot of upper body trying to get the ball moving. Hips aren't really moving at all, and it's all coming from the shoulders and the upper body to get it going. And there's just not a lot of tension on it. So maybe start with the ball off to the right. If you want both hands on the hammer, bring it forwards. Try to feel it come from the hips too. Outside of that, in the winds, we can go back a little bit. They do look a little bit unstable. So this is a place where you could get a lot of improvement this off season. And by unstable, I mean if you look at your body in this position right here, you're going to see your torso kind of shift forwards. You see your elbow, left elbow especially, both elbows kind of come high over the head. This is, excuse me, wow, I just ate breakfast and it's not agreeing with me right now. But this position right here, you can see as the ball's kind of dropping on you, elbows are very high, your chest is forwards, you're kind of leaning forwards. This isn't the most stable position. This is a very tough, position for you to feel any sense of stability, any sense of strength or power. I mean, your shoulder mobility is great, but it's a little exacerbated. And you can see ball kind of drops on you. And then you're going to kind of do the same thing going into the next turn where your arms are out long, which is good here. But then you're going to do this thing where you start to see yourself shift forwards again. Instability. So this body is moving a lot. Very forward on the toes. Like I said, so you got to keep this elbow lower. Think about bringing your left elbow kind of across the chest. You don't really want your elbows to come up over your head that much at all, really. You want to keep your elbows a little bit lower, hands up, but elbows kind of below chin level, I suppose. And then you want to think about also part of this wind is you can see you're facing the back of the circle. All right, so if you're like this in this position, it's going to be impossible. It's going to be really impossible, not actually impossible, but damn near impossible to open up your shoulders to the right side. So facing facing that water fountain there, opening up to the right side and trying to connect with the hammer a little bit earlier. Whereas right now there's no rotation in the torso, at least not too much. So you really don't turn your shoulders back. You can see there's a little bit, but if you were facing, that water fountain just a little bit more, you'd connect earlier. You'd have more tension coming through on entry, whereas right now there's not much tension at all. Ball comes dropping on you. You got to pull this left side. And you can see this left arm start to get tight, this left shoulder start to go up as a result of, like, you can see the ball's dropping a lot. If you didn't pull your arms in right here, the hammer's going to hit the ground. You can see it's almost already at ground level. So if your arms are straight out, ball's hitting the ground. So I'm sure you get feedback like that, and you're like, okay, if it hits the ground, it's not a good thing, right? And you are correct. But so we got to fix your winds and entry, get a little bit more tension and stability, and help you get the ball up and out, so that way you can actually do 3 turns. Because keeping your arms tight like this is like a big no-no. It's big. You can see how tight your arms are. You're missing out on probably 5 meters just by tightening up these arms very tight in both arms, left and right side. And then outside of that, if you disregard the upper body, if you disregard what the ball is doing and looking at the arms, your legs are turning pretty well. You're turning with the hammer pretty well. Your hips are getting up into it. You do rise up a little bit through this left foot, or sorry, the left leg, left knee. And you can see your hands also, same thing, rising up over the head. Not a good thing there. You want to keep your shoulders down, hands out and away from the body. You don't want to lift the hammer up, which is what you can see. Your leg extends up. You lift your hands up, ball rises up. You can see this little like rise in the hips. See hips come up, and then you catch. So that means you're also giving to the hammer. As the hammer rises, you're also rising, which means you're losing tension. So you catch, and then from there, a very odd orbit where like your high point is, about there. Low point is going to drop inside. It's going to be super low. You have to tighten up that left shoulder again to keep it from hitting the ground. And then you're kind of pulling through a bit. Arms are tight again. You can see the body, arm coming across the body, right arm tight. Just kind of fighting the ball. But in terms of, like I said, general turning mechanics with the lower body, it's not bad. You can see this left knee drop a little bit more forwards. And then you catch, and you're pretty much straight up on this catch. Once again, not much tension here. Shoulders are up. You're not really down, loaded in the legs at all. And you try to, like, swing your hips through. But it's really just all arms and upper body. You're really tight. Once again, it would have hit the ground if were not for your arms being so tight. And then you really don't get much extension through the upper body. Like, your hips are coming up through it, which is great. Your right side's a little bit behind. You're getting extension through this left leg. But then it's like this really short arm, tight finish where like you don't actually extend. You see it's kind of cross body. Kind of forced, if you will. So, lots of things to improve on. But that's what the off season is for. That's what I'm for. Here to help you out, help you fix these things, help you get the meters that you need. Alright, so just to run it through one more time. Winds and entry. It's really the big thing. You fix the winds, you fix the entry. Get those arms straight. That's going to be the biggest thing, is getting the arms straight. Alright, I don't care how many times the ball hits the ground. We need to teach you to get your arms straight. Alright. Everything else after that will come over the next couple months. So, yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, Dylan. Of course, I'm here to help. We'll be talking more over the next few weeks. And if anybody else out there would like a technical analysis or any throws programming or any coaching of any kind, head on over to gripandrip.co and sign up, alright? So, until next time, Sean Don, signing off.